in Paris. No, no Eiffel Tower. That's more further down there. What luggage over here? Now walk towards the hostel. It's a bit quiet this morning. A gentleman just asked me in French where I was lost, so I told him in French, no, I wasn't lost. I knew where to go. I don't experience such kindness around that often. So it was something else. Anyway, let me change sides. By the way, if you're there, let me know in the live chat, please. Thank you very much. It's very quiet here. It's maybe 6:30 a.m., 6:30 in the morning. I would expect to see more people outside. It's still like Paris, but okay. Roi de Bercy. Proof I'm in Paris. Maria Garcia is here. Glad you're here. Well, in this live stream, I'm only 2 minutes in right now. Guerre also joined. Good morning. Bonjour, to say in French. In this live stream, I want to remind you that anytime, but absolutely any time, you take steps in life, it doesn't even have to be big steps. Anytime you take steps in life, anytime you have a breakthrough, whether a small breakthrough or big breakthrough, does not matter, you will face retaliation. Simple as that. Oh, there's a monument right over there. But so quiet. It's a bit disturbing. Or maybe I'm just wrong. If I'm wrong, I can be corrected. There's a Masonic monument right over there. You can see it in Greek style. Don't do this at home. Please don't. I only did it because there was no traffic on the road. This fraternal organization of France. You see the French flag and the flag of the European Union. It's close now. Do you see it even? Yeah, over there. Yes, we'll have a good time here, Joe. Don't worry about that. Go back to the topic. Any time in life, whether you're a believer or unbeliever, it counts for both, but especially for believers. You cannot be breaking through. So you cannot be breaking satanic societal barriers. Societal barriers are satanic anyway, so also satanic societal barrier is exactly the same thing. Just to emphasize on satanic. Anytime you break a societal barrier, expect revenge to be enacted upon you. Okay? That's why you are violating the core expectations of the public. And one thing about the public is they do not accept their core expectations being violated. Now, are you actually violating anyone? No, you're not. You're not actually violating anyone. However, the public will experience it as a violation. So, what do you do if you're about to break through, but you already feel that there's going to be a big conflict. You can just feel that, me continuing with this is going to lead to people exploding, people lose their minds, or it's going to lead to some revenge campaign upon you. What do you do then? Well, it's quite simple. As I said in the previous live stream, you make sure that you are ahead of the revenge of society. What you're certain about society is that the movement we call society, because society is a movement, that movement will always enact revenge on anyone who doesn't agree with it. That's how society operates, through revenge. We're not allowed to call it revenge, because if you call it revenge, it's going to be into your face. That's why they call it law and order, criminal justice system. Or they call it, if it's not legal, they call it norms and values, boundaries. They have all these fancy terms. They call it when society takes revenge. It comes down to this. The society will do it. You didn't do what we want, or the way we wanted it, so now we're going to make you suffer or have a hard life, or we're going to take your life away permanently. That's society. So you're always under the threat of either lose your life or have your quality of life diminished by violence because others are upset they didn't have their way. Isn't it weird? They teach children you can't always have your way, but when it comes to society, if society doesn't have its way, someone dies. Because legally they can't do this because it's going to be exposed. But anytime society cannot get their target they're upset about, they will look for substitute victims. So, being part of society alone puts you at risk of being violated as collateral damage. It can be that the people are upset with with the prime minister, for example, but nobody has the guts to call out the prime minister. They keep holding on to this respect bullshit. So instead, people are going to take out their rage on some of the teenagers in some subgroup. Let's say you have teenagers who are into hip-hop. Now, are there people in hip-hop that cause trouble? Yes. But it doesn't mean that every teenager or every young individual that's into hip-hop causes trouble. But because people in the country don't want to deal with the prime minister who's been scamming them, now they want to take out on those hip-hoppers. But everywhere in the country they talk bad about hip-hoppers. And they highlight the dysfunction of hip-hoppers. The thing is, the dysfunction was there all along. And there are other groups in that society that are even more dysfunctional than hip-hoppers. But everyone talks about the hip-hoppers. Why? Because hip-hoppers now are the collateral damage because the public doesn't want to face their failure. Simple as that. So being part of society alone will cause you to become collateral damage sooner or later. So it's not even safe to be part of the same called society. It's not. Okay. Still empty. Let me just cross very quickly. Hold on. Okay. Imagine, okay, I want you to imagine this. Someone walks into a room. Okay? Someone walks into a room. And this individual tells you, if I don't get what I want, this knife is going to end up with someone's body. Imagine someone would say that. They would walk to a room with this big machete, and they would tell you up front, if they don't have what they want, someone's getting hurt. They're not specifically pointing at someone, I'm going to do this to you. They're not specifically threatening a specific individual, but just say, if they're upset, bad things will happen. Would we be okay with that? No, we would call the cops, have the individual arrested, or put in a mental asylum, because we think we should walk on eggshells, being afraid that our lives may end, or that we can be harmed because someone is upset. But here's the thing. That is exactly how society is. When the group, the multitudes, don't get their ease nor their relief, someone will suffer. Simple as that. Just want to show you guys this. Okay. That's Paris too. Not just the Eiffel Tower. Or the Arc de Triomphe, or whatever they call that. So the weird thing is that if a single individual will walk around with a machete and they'll be saying, if I get upset, something bad happens. It's your fault if something bad happens with a knife. Just make sure and don't get upset. Everyone will call the individual a narcissist. We call them a lunatic. Say, we need to stay away from you. But guess what? That's the same attitude of the masses. The masses have the exact same psychopathic attitude, but because it's the masses enacting it together, we somehow think it's natural or something justified. And that's why society needs mythology to excuse to excuse not only their failures, but also their violence. Okay, imagine you walk into, let's say you work at Walmart. You're a cashier at Walmart. Every customer, hold on. Every customer needs to pay for their groceries. That's common. Let's say someone someone picks up some groceries, but they do not want to pay. You're going to tell them, sir, you need to pay for those. If they don't want to pay, you can call the manager or call the cops. But let's say the guy pulls out this gun, that's a loaded gun. You think that you're going to tell him you need to pay, insist on paying? No. You're going to see he has a gun, he's mentally unstable. You are just going to let him walk out of the store. Of course you will call the cops and they will go after him. But you yourself will not challenge him for not paying for his groceries. Why? Because the fact he has a weapon that's loaded means he's willing to use it. And the fact he's showing that weapon into your face means that you can be next. So violence is a means to avoid confrontation and to be challenged. Now, the example of someone at Walmart not wanting to pay for the groceries and using a weapon to blackmail everyone so that he can get away with it is a bit extreme. But just think about it. How often did people out there in the world, I mean in society, give firm, justifiable explanations for their actions? Often when you call them out, they say, who are you? You're just a kid. Or, I don't answer to you, I'm an adult. Or they would say, it's none of your business. Or they would come with emotional defenses. Or they would flat out attack you. Or take legal action against you. It's cowardice. People in the world are cowards to the core. They don't want to be challenged on anything. And being challenged is important for you to improve and be better. But that's the exact same thing worldlings are dreading, being challenged. So, to avoid being challenged, they want to take advantage of your vulnerability. That's simply this. Worldlings, this is how they operate. They take advantage of your vulnerability by using your vulnerability against you. That's why violence is the norm in the world. Because violence is the only way to take advantage of someone's vulnerability. So, that is why in the world, you'll notice when you talk to a lot of these people, they're quite superficial. They're quite superficial. Call out anything disturbing in the community that requires their attention. And you'll notice that they'll either shut down or they'll act like they didn't hear you. And in some cases, they even tell you to shut up, they don't want to hear about it. Why? Because that disturbing thing in the community, it's them as a community doing it. If you're part of a group and the group is conducting something, is doing something that's improper, You are doing it. That is how it goes. If you, okay, hold on. A bit of the noise here. Hold on. Look, if you are part, let's say a part of MS-13, not be part of that satanic joke, please. Yes, I called MS-13 that quote-unquote great international gang a joke, okay? I'm not saying they're not dangerous, but they're a joke, okay? Let's say you're a member of MS-13. MS-13 has over 60,000 members in the United States alone, I believe, something like that. And let's say you have MS-13 members that gang rape a 12-year-old somewhere in Los Angeles. And you're an MS-13 member all the way in Jacksonville, Florida. Now, physically, you did not commit that crime. But here it comes. You're part of a movement that committed a crime. And that movement is known to cause trouble. So you staying part of a movement that causes trouble, anything that's done in that movement is accounted to you too. That's how it goes in reality. If you're part of something, you carry both the gains and the blames of what you're part of. However, when it comes to society, for some reason people don't apply this rule. And that's why when you notice something odd about the community, for example, there's an increase in homelessness, or you notice that a lot of the children walk around agitated and upset. Anytime you mention something disturbing about the community, people tend to get uncomfortable because they are the ones doing it. They're the ones part of this movement of society, or they're part of the community, so it's on them to contribute to the well-being of their community to their best ability. Simple as that. So, by the way, I'm in Paris, Les Brown, just so you know, in France. So just so you know, in the world, do not expect deep-rooted conversations that lead to solutions. So don't expect it. You can converse with people in the world, absolutely. You can converse with worldlings. But rarely will you have deep, clear conversations that will lead to good outcomes. Because worldlings are not into going towards good outcomes. They're not. They're into escaping, or if they can't escape a situation, they want to escalate on it to discharge their negative tension. That's it. Can you find some exceptions in the world? Yes, you can. But those are rare. So if you're out there in the world expecting some big long-term solution to come from some meeting, you have to think about yourself. For example, what you see behind me over there, there's a commercial. J'adore. J'adore is French for I love. It's in I adore. So it's from thereon, a brand. Okay? You mean to tell me society has room and space for this, but they don't have room and space to actually discuss the increasing homelessness around them, or the fact that a lot of people lose their minds as adults? Really? Nobody complains about such such pornography. But she's not naked. No. Pornography isn't just having people naked in front of you. By the way, having naked people in front of you isn't pornography, it's nude art. Pornography is when something is suggested onto you that isn't there. So they show you this image of a woman, but it's really a tranny, so it's not a real woman. But in your mind, you think it's a woman, and this messes you up. That's pornography. I know it's a perfume, I know. But I'm just saying, how come people are tolerant towards such stuff, which aren't even necessary and would take space for things which are much more important? I know what that is about, but what I'm pointing out here is that Look around you. Look around you and just examine people's behaviors. And you'll notice at the end of the day, they're all in on escaping and pretend like nothing is wrong. Simple as that. So, not everyone in society is a Satanist. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But at the end of the day, most of the people in society endorse Satanism. As long as Satanism can work on their behalf, they endorse it. Now, they don't want Satanism to work at their expense. But they have no problem with Satanism working at someone else's expense. Someone says, do you think that it's because it may require them to change and they don't want to? Change, let me say like this. Change implies admitting things are not. It also means implied things aren't going well. There's also you are part of things not going well. And that's what people don't want to face. They just want to act like nothing goes on so that it doesn't require any long-term dedication, effort on their part. That's what it comes down to. That's why the masses, at the end of the day, the majority of them endorse Satanism. They'll put up with any satanic tyrant over them. But send a believer that practices righteousness, and suddenly they will become super detectives looking for any fault in that believer. Any fault. Why are they doing that? Because the satanic tyrant is bad news. And they can always use the fact he's bad news against him or against her. But the believer that practices righteousness, what can they use against them to shut their mouth? They have nothing. And because they have nothing on them, that creeps them out. Simple as that. And yes, indeed, some people are not aware that God's willing to be part of their lives. Or better said, we're supposed to be part of God's life. He is the living one. Hold on. Still need to wait. Hold on. All right. Sun is shining, as you can see. It's just an hour away from sunrise, to be frank. So look, I'm not making this live stream just to complain about world things. I'm making this live stream to keep you alert and aware of what you're dealing with. Okay? Are there people in the world who want better or willing to dedicate to better? Absolutely. Such people exist. Absolutely. However, know what you're dealing with. Don't assume the best if there's no proof of the best even being there. Okay, let me repeat it one more time. Do not assume the best from people without any proof, anything heading towards the best even being there. Am I saying you always have to be suspicious and paranoid about people? No, absolutely not. You're not going to end up in paranoia, always expecting the worst from people. That's sick. Don't do that. But on the other hand, always expecting the best from people, even when there's no proof that people are even willing to be at their best. I'm sorry, but that's pathological too. And that's something there are a lot of believers doing. It's one thing to admit paranoia is wrong. It's unhealthy. It's good you admit that. But the other side of the coin, never admitting any wrongdoing on part of the public, I'm sorry, that's delusional. Deal with people in the world in a Christ-centered way, walk in love towards them, all of that, absolutely. But remember, they are fleers and they're escapers. They escape. If they can't escape, they will explode in rage. That's what you're dealing with. Don't be fooled by all their mannerisms and all their the public makeup they're putting on. Don't be fooled by that. At the end of the day, they are a raging crowd insisting on Barabbas and have Jesus crucified. That's what they are. Look, if you're not sure about something, you're not sure. You're going to do your investigation. But you're not going to act in paranoia, but you're also not going to act in a delusional way, put yourself and others at risk. So, it's also important to check what people are making through to you and to the community. If someone is under attack, they will not function at their best. But if you see them doing their part to be better or to contribute, then honor that, work with them. But if you notice someone doesn't even care about being better, they just want to get rid of bad consequences, now you realize that you are dealing with a saboteur and you are dealing with someone that will either sell you out just to get their escape, or you're dealing with someone who may even turn on you because they don't want to deal with the difficulty. Why are people in the world saying that true friends are rare? True friends should be the norm. True friends should be everywhere. Because we deserve to be safe. We should be safe as a human species. The fact people say that true friends are rare already shows that they understand that most of them cannot be trusted and not reliable. See it like this. The common worldling is similar to a junkie. You know, the drug addict keeps going back to get their high. Eventually, everything in their lives is unstable just for them to get that one high. But that's how the common worldling is. It's all about their mental, emotional ease. That's all that counts with these people. Mental, emotional ease. Not peace, ease. That's all that counts for them. So they're not all addicted to cocaine, heroin, speed, or whatever. No, they're not all alcoholics. They're not all porn addicts. No, but this tendency to escalate anytime they can't have their escape, that's something the junkie has. But that is the same thing everyone in the world has that isn't renewed in their mind. Anyone out there, including believers who are not renewed in their mind, they have this junkie attitude. Anytime they have to face anything that's a bit challenging, they look for excuses or they look for attacks. They'll go into attack mode. Simple as that. So, know what you're dealing with. Don't be delusional. And also, reflect on yourself and understand these people that are not renewed in their mind, they're not in agreement with Christ, they are a risk to even be around at times. Sometimes you're around these worldly people and suddenly you have bad outcomes in your life. For example, you go to visit one of your friends from college. After you visit them, you got a ticket on the road. You malfunction while driving on the road. It never happened to you. Or let's say you hang out with some of your relatives. Your car often breaks down. You have to spend hundreds of dollars to fix your car. And you have to work hours at work so you can pay to repair your car. Then you stop hanging out with those relatives. And suddenly you don't have your car doesn't break down as much anymore. What I'm saying is that a lot of these people in the world, not all of them, but a lot of them, they have this unrest that haunts them. And that unrest causes malfunction around them. So being around them means that you will face malfunction. It's not even destruction in your own life too. Beware of that. So if someone is haunted because they're a victim, then you're not going to blame them. You're going to blame the victimizer that's victimizing them. You just tell them, listen, you're being victimized, you need help. But if someone is a collaborator, they don't care what goes on as long as they have their ease. Now you need to avoid an individual as soon as possible. Simple as that. Anyway, I'm almost at the hostel. Thank you all for being here. Keep agreement with Christ, and please do not be delusional and put yourself and others at risk. Be at peace, and I'll see you next time. Shalom.